how did you meet Jim? Kind of tell about
I never had the pleasure of actually working with Jim, but our retirees are revered. We have a retirees night every September where all the guys, we'll have 200-300 retirees that'll come down for it. And I was on the union executive board, and they told me that Jim needed a ride to the retirees night. So I went out to the east side and picked him up. And on the way in, we just started small talk, asked how long he'd been on the job, and he told me when he came on, what companies he'd worked at, and then he told me he was a World War II veteran and he'd been in the Navy. And I said, in the South Pacific, and he said, yes. I said, well, so was my father, and jokingly I said, you two didn't bump into each other over there. And Jim was a very quiet, very humble guy, Irish sense of humor. He just looked over at me and he said, well, son, it was a big war. Maybe I did. So we rode a little bit further in silence. And he said, you know, I was on the USS Indianapolis, and I knew of the Indianapolis, but I didn't know the complete story. And on the way down, I literally could have pulled my car over and stopped and just let him talk all night long. He went into the secret mission they were on, delivering the parts of the atomic bomb that hit Hiroshima, the little boy bomb. He told me about the sweltering heat, the calm seas that were that night, but it was so hot that the crew had to go out and sleep on the deck. And that's what saved a lot of their lives. Anybody that wasn't on duty was just laying on mattresses on the deck when the first torpedo hit. And then the second torpedo hit. And of course the ship went down, I believe, within about 20 minutes. There were 1,200 people roughly on it, and only 317 returned. I find that kind of amazing that Indianapolis's area code is 317. I don't know if some World War II veteran had a secret joke in there when he gave us our area code or not. But on the way down, he just continued to talk about being in the water, the shark attacks, being covered in oil and diesel fuel from the wrecked ship, and they were in the water all those days, and then finally being rescued. He also, on the way back, I gave him a ride home. Jim also was at the Coliseum when it exploded. Like so many of the guys that came back out on the fire department, you had to work multiple jobs because it was woefully underpaid at the time. And he was working stagehands and was running a light over the Holiday on Ice show when the Coliseum blew up. And if you listen to the alarm tapes, he was one of the first persons to come and call the alarm office. And he's very quietly, he just says, it's really bad up here. We have a lot of people hurt. Send all the ambulances that you can. Said, okay, and he just turned around and silently went right back to work helping save people's lives. Fascinating individual, but very, very humble, very, very quiet. Like I said, he had a good little Irish sense of humor about him. After that, I started seeing him all over town. He would be at grocery stores, the fire department instructors conference, they'd have a booth, he'd be in hotel lobbies. He and the group, the USS Indianapolis survivors, were all trying to raise funds to get the memorial over on the canal, get the monument installed. And I'd stop and talk to him every time, and salespeople that were with him would all hype it up. Hey, you know, this is Jimmy O'Donnell, and this is what we're trying to do. I'd go, yes, I know it's Jimmy O'Donnell. And every time he would just look at me and say, now you know this isn't about me. This is about the boys that didn't come home. And he sincerely meant that. I mean, he had a life's mission to do that, and he was able to see it in his life. He was able to see the monument installed, his captain exonerated, multiple books and documentaries that were written about it. A movie just recently came out about it. So everybody knows the story of the Indianapolis. It could have easily gone down as a footnote in World War II history, just a ship that was sunk at sea. But through his work and through his perseverance and the rest of the people with the Survivors organization, they've brought it to light. The thing about Jim and the Greatest Generation is if you look at the building here where it says duty, honor, sacrifice, they came back from World War II, dozens of them, and got on the fire department, and they inculcated into our culture that mantra, that duty, honor, sacrifice. So the Indianapolis Fire Department is what it is today because of the paramilitary and because of the structure that they brought back to it. Jim was a guy that when a wolf knocked at the door, he answered it, whether it was the Axis powers or whether he got on the fire department and it was somebody's house on fire or a car accident, man-made disasters like the Coliseum or something. He was there the better part of his life.